Good morning, audience from all over Southeast Asia and beyond. My name is Montakan Sumanthap Kittipaisansin, an Associate Project Officer for Culture at UNESCO Bangkok. Would like to welcome you to the webinar, Unlocking Potential. Is Community-Based Tourism a Sustainable Business Model in ASEAN Waterway Locales? The webinar is the first activity in our new project, Achieving Sustainable Tourism with Intangible Cultural Heritage and Creative City Network in Waterway Cities of ASEAN. The project has been kindly supported by ASEAN Turkey Corporation, Designated Areas for Sustainable Tourism Administration of Thailand, or DASTA, International Training Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in Asia Pacific Region, or CRIHAP, K11 Department Store, and Onyx Hospitality. UNESCO also implements this project in collaboration with the City Connects, B Consulting Cambodia, and the Thailand CBTI. This project will organize for tourism professionals in ASEAN subregions, altogether 6 webinars like this and 1 on-site workshop in Nan O City in the northern part of Thailand early next year in February. In fact, we will launch the call for application for this very special on-site workshop at the end of this webinar, so please stay tuned until then. So since this is our first project activities, it is timely to invite executives from supporting agencies to greet you at this opening session. So therefore, first of all, I would like to invite Group Captain Atikun Kongmi, Director General of DASTA, to please give an opening remarks.
Dear Deputy Director General of International Training Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in the Asia Pacific region of CRIHAP, Chief of Culture Sector of UNESCO Regional Office in Bangkok, tourism professionals across the ASEAN region, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to represent Thailand's Designated Areas for Sustainable Tourism Administration, or DASTA, in welcoming you to the first activity under our collaborative project with UNESCO and various partners across the regions. This very exciting project, titled Achieving Sustainable Tourism with Intangible Cultural Heritage and Creative City Network in Waterway Cities of ASEAN, was one out of DASTA aspiration to enhance stronger cooperation between peoples in tourism sector in all 11 Southeast Asian countries. It's true that in this day and age, none of us can live alone or work alone, especially in the succeeding a sustainable tourism for our sub-region. There is a need to pivot for better ways to make travel an enriching experience, not only to the travelers, but also to local communities who are our valuable sources of cultural and social enrichment. This is why we work with UNESCO to emphasize the significance of both intangible cultural heritage and cultural and creative industry of local people as key factor that makes a place both unique and relevant to travel demands. I'm very happy to learn that today there are many registered participants to our webinar that will kickstart the 1 year's networking project. As you might have learned already from our Kickstart publicity in the past week, this networking project will feature 6 webinars like this. each will challenge tourism professionals with daring questions. Whether community-based tourism is really a bankable enterprise, not only in sense of economic, but in the sense of improving livelihood in all aspects. Whether digital technologies are friends or foes of traditional communities, and whether tourism can really align with the global need to improve the environment. All 6 webinars will run from today until June 2024. Aside from these thought-provoking webinars, DASTA and UNESCO are excited to launch an on-site workshop for professionals Cambodia, Laos PDR, and Thailand. This workshop will be organized in Nan On City, a humble riverside province in the north of Thailand. Its CBT development model of data and relevant sectors selected by UNWTO as an upgrade program of Best Tourism Village and Creative City on Craft and Focus development model for UNESCO Creative City Network or UCCN. This year, Nan On City received Green Destination Top 100. So participants will immerse in a challenging task to come up with travel prototypes using sharing living heritage and local creative industries. You will learn more on how to join this immersive workshop by the end of this webinar. To this end, I would like to thank our partners, including UNESCO, CREHAB, K11, Onyx Authorities, City Connect, B Consulting, and CBTI. My gratitude also to our 5 expert panelists today. Professor Kannapa from Thammasat University, Ms. Jalanya from CBTI, Mr. Nick Lay from Lowly Planet, Mr. Inti from Green Discovery of Laos, and Mr. Sapawat from Five Forks for this upcoming and truly engaging discussion. I also thank in advance over 30 speakers who line up to share ideas and experience at our webinar throughout 2024. Most importantly, I would like to thank you, all audience of professionals and learners, for your kind interest to make change to our regional tourism scene. ขอบคุณและสวัสดีครับ
Thank you, Director General of DASTA. Secondly, we would like to invite Mr. Zheng Jing, Deputy Director General of International Training Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in Asia-Pacific region under the auspices of UNESCO or CREHAB, to give a congratulatory remarks, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Please allow me, on behalf of CREHAB, to welcome you all to the opening of the workshop, Achieving Sustainable Tourism with Intangible Cultural Heritage and Creative City Network in Waterway Cities of ASEAN. This workshop is the first of its kind. It will fill gaps with linkage between public institutions and private enterprises in tourism and heritage, starting with the 3 pilot countries, namely Laos PDR, Thailand, and Cambodia. It aims at equipping the multinational participants with increased awareness about social and economic opportunities and healthier usage of intangible heritage and cultural and creative industries to maximize intersectoral collaboration and sustainable tourism. The tourism trend today is no longer all about photogenic heritage sites. It is more about memorable experiences with local cultures. Such experiences can be provided and sustained if the local intangible cultural heritage and cultural and creative industries are safeguarded and promoted properly. We hope this workshop will provide a floor to share experiences from Thai creative cities to potential cities in Cambodia and Law PDR, and lead to fruitful collaboration among creative cities under the same themes and full utilization of shared ICH to inspire these cultural industries. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our partner, the UNESCO Bangkok office, for its valuable input into the preparation of this workshop on site. Well, not only for this program, but for the continuous support in the past to CREHAB. At the same time, I should thank the support of the DASTA, ASEAN Turkey Cooperation, and other partners. Taking this workshop as a starting point, we are looking forward to the closer cooperation with you in the future. I would also like to thank the facilitator, our close friend Ladina Putinta, and all experts who work with us. I'm very grateful for your contribution to this workshop. Last but not least, I welcome all the participants and hope you are ready to kick in the training sessions and enjoy these sessions. I believe that workshop itself can also be an effective platform for people from different parts of the world to get together and promote friendship among themselves. I hope that the training could inspire you again and make your future work more effective. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director General of CREHAB. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we at UNESCO and the City Connects are very excited to start this project that we hope is useful to many tourism professionals in our sub-region. To begin this, we would like to invite our Chief of Culture Unit at UNESCO Regional Office in Bangkok, Dr. Feng Jing, to introduce you in great detail with our project. What is it about to offering you? Please, Dr. Feng.
Dear Director Generals of the Designated Area for Sustainable Tourism Administration, DASTA, dear Deputy Director General of the International Training Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in the Asia-Pacific region, CREHAB, tourism professionals across the ASEAN community, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Sawadee-ka. This is Dr. Feng Jin, Chief of the Cultural Unit of UNESCO Bangkok. On behalf of the Director of our office, it is my pleasure to join all of you today for the first activity under the project Achieving Sustainable Tourism with Intangible Cultural Heritage and Creative City Network in Waterway cities of ASEAN. I would like to thank all audiences who are interested in collaborating with UNESCO and its partners and who have signed up for this webinar and 5 additional such events throughout the coming year. I'm delighted to acknowledge with gratitude that this project is generously supported by the ASEAN Turkey Cooperation, DASTA, CREHAB, K11, and Onyx Hospitality. The project will be implemented by UNESCO Bangkok in collaboration with City Connect, a company comprising local youth in the travel and social media sector. This very exciting project aims first and foremost to build a professional network in ASEAN for sustainable community-based tourism. In addition, The project aspires to change the way new generations administer travel businesses, namely by developing a greater awareness of, respect for, and responsible use of the invaluable natural, culture, and creative assets in local communities that have become what we commonly call tourism destinations. These sites of heritage are innate to all local and indigenous peoples, and as such, they should not be taken for granted as mere entertainments for tourists, but respected as distinguished ways of life that contribute to environmental, social, and economic sustainability that we call today sustainable tourism. This guiding principle will resonate throughout all of webinars as well as the project's on-site workshop. Today's webinar, which launches the series, is on the topic of community-based travel business models, particularly those locating in UNESCO waterside destinations in the ASEAN region. In a few minutes, we will hear about diverse innovations and case studies from our distinguished roster of speakers, all of whom I warmly thank for helping to make this project a success. Following today's event, UNESCO will organize an in-person networking workshop for professionals from Cambodia, Laos, PDR, and Thailand. After an application and the selection process, the participants in this workshop will come together to learn deeply about intangible cultural heritage and culture and creative industries and how to utilize them sustainably for tourism businesses. The workshop will take place in Nan Old City, Thailand in early February 2024. A call for applications will open later today upon the conclusion of today's activities. 5 more thematic webinars will follow today's over the course of 2024, together focusing on a wide array of topics from sustainable food experience and digital technology for local communities to zero plastic festival tourism. There will be over 40 tourism, communication, and culture experts that will take part in this project, which is open to all of you for your professional benefit. We hope that all of today's participants will maximize this opportunity to learn and share your experience with colleagues towards cultivating a strong and dynamic network of friends and like-minded professionals who can collaborate in future projects. Thank you, and all my warmest wishes for an enjoyable and fruitful networking. ขอบคุณครับ Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Feng Jing. We will move now into the highlight panel discussion of today's webinar. I would like to hand over the moderation role to Ms. Gorakot Panlopriksa or Kunim. I am actually proud to say that our beautiful moderator, Kunim, is a passionate travel writer who has penned 18 travel books already. She is also a freelance journalist for international media, covering a wide range of topics from politics to poverty. She is a believer of the power of storytelling and to bridge gaps and foster understanding between cultures. She's also a strong advocate for deep traveling and sustainable tourism. And I cannot find anybody more suitable to take this job today. So please click on a round of applause to Kunim, please.
Wow, thank you very, very much. I feel like I'm already on the trip with everyone. Thank you for having me here. And I would like to go ahead into our topic and introduce our panelists to us all. So first of all, I would like to introduce Ms. Jaranya Dang Noi, the Director of Thailand Community Based Tourism Institute or CBTI. Kunjaranya is a leading individual in the field of organizational development and planning of community-based development, with emphasis on tourism as strategy for sustainable development. She has designed and facilitated various community-based tourism trainings and study trips for international NGOs, government agencies, and universities, as well as CBT development program across Thailand and Asia Pacific region. She has also worked for decades a project director and resource person on protocol development for government and local communities.
Thank you. Second speakers, Assistant Professor Gandapha Pongpornrat Chioshan from College of Innovation, Thammasat University in Thailand. Ajahn Gandapha started her earlier career as research fellow at Stockholm Environment Institute Asia, later as a director of graduate program at Mahidol University International College, and now a director of service innovation program at College of Innovation of Thammasat University. She's a public speaker on sustainability-related issues and has worked on community participatory planning and development for sustainability, sustainable tourism, water management in tourist destination, and resilience for community social development. With various awards and scholarships, she is also an awarded author for various of her published books.
And the third person that we have today with us, Mr. Nick Ray, the Lonely Planet writer for Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, and a tourism consultant with the World Bank. With experience both as a journalist and a tour leader, Mr. Nick has written over 50 guidebooks for Lonely Planet since 1998, including travel books for Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. He also leads and tour lectures for Harvard Business School alumni and Young Presidents Organization. In fact, he has been the one scouting beautiful film locations for movies like Tomb Raider and Top Gear Vietnam, and countless documentaries for the BBC and National Geographic.
Yes. Welcome, Kun Nick. So our fourth panelist, Mr. Inti Deunsawan, the CEO of Green Discovery in Lao PDR. He is a visionary entrepreneur and a proud owner of a pioneering tourism company with an unyielding passion for sustainable travel for Laos. He has established the Intira Group that consists of restaurant, hotels, and adventure tour companies. Ever since, he has dedicated himself to creating transformative experiences for tourists while preserving the environment and supporting local communities. Mr. Inti aspires to grow his business that bridges the gap between tourists and locals, creating meaningful interactions that foster understanding and respect.
And the last panelist that we have, but it's not least, Mr. Sapawat Kantamara, Strategy Managing and Sustainability Manager at Fine Folk Company Limited in Thailand. With his various expertise in branding strategy, platform development, marketing strategy for sustainable tourism, and GSTC assessment of sustainability for tourist attractions, Kun Sapawat has spoken at the high-level political forum on sustainable development and in a mentor for a Circular Innovation Challenge 2023 by Thammasat University. As an alumni of DASTA, he also contributed to the assessment of the top 100 sustainable destinations by Green Destinations. And these are our 5 panelists that we will be honored to have them as our part of discussion. Then Shall we get into our questions and we will
Yes.
start to discuss about today?
Yes.
All right. I would like to introduce us on our timing that we have, okay? So we will have about 20 minutes in each question, and we would like you all to share your opinion and discuss about what your opinion is all about. So we have all together with 4 questions. So, one question we will spend about 20 minutes and 5 minutes per person for the answer. All right, I'm so sorry they have to be like rigid on this. All right, we're gonna start with the first question. So the first question is, can CBT, community-based tourism, be a sustainable business model? Shall we start with Kun Kannapa
Yes.
on this one? Miss Kannapa, Ajahn Kannapa, could you please give us some discussion and some opinion about this question, please?
Thank you, Skakunim Karen. Thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be here with like global communities here. Can you share my slides here? Actually, based on the questions of like, can CBT be a sustainable business model? So we have a keyword like sustainable, sustainability, and the CBT and the business. So I would like to take all of you back a bit, step back a bit. Before like 2 decades already that we've been talking about community-based tourism. So it starts with what is that, what is CBT, and how we're gonna do it. But I think by now, since we've learned a lot from like 2 decades, I would like to step back with actually why we need CBT. For CBT, it starts with why we need that for the community development or for a business development. So a little bit step back on that, and then we can think about what is really be the focal point for what is CBT. Probably for the quality of life of the communities or just for the business own sake, maybe. So it's the first start for the questions, the why we need that. And of course, if we really need that for the community development, how can we make it happen for sustainable business model? That would be another slide. I go briefly since you have a very limited time for each of us, right? So next slide, please. Yeah. So if we already clear like why we need CBT for that particular communities, and of course CBTs cannot be sustaining if the business of CBT is not really going well. We do business anyway, but in the good way, right? So to respond to the question like, can it be business model? I would say like, yes, of course, if we know how to do it and why we do it. And of course, the keyword still be sustainable development for the community as a keyword. Yeah. So probably we can think about so many kinds of business model. Like for example, I wrap up here, and I think you heard and you learned more from our panelists. Like, they can transform into the business model if we think about the ecosystem and the CBT, how things work in our community to run with a tourism business model with a community-based approach. Like think about stakeholder. Of course, the keywords coming in inclusiveness. Like who includes in that? How we include to be inclusive tourism in the community level. And of course, how we responsible to the good management of the local resources and how we can contribute to the local community in terms of like culture, conservation, environmental conservation, or even like reboost up a local economy. But back to the first slide, like that is for sustainability in community development level, the quality of life of people. That's what the keywords. And of course, we talk about resilience. Since we talk about business model, it must be some kind of idea of how to make it continually, even whatever happened. For example, we face like COVID disruptions, how this kind of CBT practice can go on. So the keywords core resilience come in when we talk about business model for the CBT. And of course, all in all, it will create a lot of benefits for the countries in terms of like economic boost up, or even we talk about economy, creative economy for like culture and environment conservation for the country as a whole picture. So I think it can be, if we aware enough why we're doing that. That would be my response for the first questions in brief. Thank you, Naka.
Thank you ค่ะอาจารย์ and the second one I would like to invite คุณ Inti since he is already in the business and also bridge between tourism and the local. Do you think that this one is suitable to like answer now?
Okay, thank you very much for having me here to join. Yeah, basically, I think Ajahn Kanapa already has been explained it quite a lot. On my own experience, of course, I think can CBT be a sustainable business? I think yes, and I mean if it depends on how you're doing it. We have a lot of CBT already started in Laos. I think more than 20 years. And I will be honestly say a lot of project was failed because of how you're doing it. Because of course, I think the CBT here has been funded quite a lot by a development organization. It works very well when the project was there because it has been managed. The concept, everything is good because I think they try to strengthen the local people so they can be on their own to develop on their hometown to make it work. But the problem in Laos, what I have seen is when the project has pulling up, when it back to the local because I think of the structure of the organization, also of the knowledge. I don't know how in other countries, but I think this is what Laos has facing. We have some projects that still go on. Of course, I'm not saying because I'm from private sector, because I mean, for the project that we do from us, because we are private sector, we're working. In the end of the day, local people in Laos, they need someone to working with and consult and advise. Because I mean, tourism for them is in the beginning when they start, everything's free because the project has been helping them. So for them, it's no cost. They're happy when the tourists come with even a little bit of money, but they're not thinking of okay how to sustain the product in terms of maintenance the product, in terms of okay design the activities and price. I mean pricing the product and so on. And I think I still believe this CBT can be sustainable business, but it depends on how you structure it. Yes.
So much. And what do you think, Mr. Nick, from your experience of writing guidebook and then you go to so many places, you see so many people? What is your experience about this and what is your opinion?
Well, first, thank you very much for having me. Thank you to UNESCO, my fellow panelists, and of course the audience for taking time out of their busy schedule to join us today. I mean, the short answer is yes. You know, it's already been proven, as Inti has said, in Laos, in Thailand, in Cambodia, in the GMS region. However, like everything, you've got to unravel it a little bit. It's more complex than that. So there's three brief topics I'd like to address. First of all, I think you've got to have the right ingredients. So that for me is the right destination, the right community, and the right products. There's no point starting a CBET in a really boring place in the middle of nowhere that nobody goes to. No one's going to come. There's no point in starting with a community that has no interest in tourism. They're not going to be passionate and engaging. And there's no point if you've got the wrong products. So you've got to get those right ingredients together. And sometimes CBETs get 2 out of the 3, and that can help. But, you know, the ones that are going to succeed are where they get all those 3 ingredients in the right mix. Second point, I think, is really building on what Inti said, which is the right model. I think I totally agree with Inti there. And obviously we are more from the private sector side, but I think there was in the past a reliance on the kind of donor-driven model. And basically donors would come in, establish a CBET, sometimes in very remote areas with people who had absolutely no experience of tourism in any shape or form. And that's very challenging because, you know, there may be literacy issues, there may be communication issues, there may be so many factors that makes it very tough. And so you can get it going for a period, but the question is, you know, is it sustainable? And what happens when the donor walks away? That bubble of sustainability bursts and the community is left clearing up a mess. So I think the private sector model, which is coming to the fore increasingly, is more beneficial and more sustainable. I mean, profit can be a dirty word in development, but actually profit is the foundation of sustainability. You know, without profit, you are unsustainable. That, you know, in the private sector, that's how it works. If you can only be unprofitable for so long before you're going to be closed down or bankrupt. So I think there's nothing wrong with the word profit. And if you go in with that mentality, with the right private sector partner and the right community, the right destination, the right products, you're going to get something. However, the final point to make, which is obviously a kind of, you know, a warning sign, a red flag, if you like, for all of us, and we know this. There was a very interesting article this weekend on the BBC entitled "The Mekong is Dying." I'm sure some of you read it. Very good photo essay, very powerful. There are major existential threats to river-based tourism and community tourism because many of these rivers are in danger from climate change. So this is going to have a big impact already, as we know, on the Mekong. Many of our best destinations lie along the Mekong and other smaller rivers. I think it's going to affect all of our countries, but particularly Cambodia and Vietnam. Why do I say that? I mean, Thailand and Laos, of course, will be affected, but Cambodia, because we have the Tonle Sap Lake, which relies on the flood pulse of the Mekong, and that is key to the diet, to the fisheries, to everything in Cambodia. So if that lake begins to dry up, that's a major, major problem for Cambodia as a country. And for Vietnam, of course, the Mekong Delta, about nearly a quarter of Vietnam's population lives in the Delta. It's under threat from two sides, the Mekong beginning to potentially drop in level or dry up, and also salination from rising sea levels. So particularly, as you can see, Vietnam and Cambodia, very vulnerable to this. So I think, yes, CBET can work and it can be sustainable, but there's a lot of background factors to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. That's really, really like awakening in the way that it's not just only traveling and having fun or reaching out to the local, but it makes us all becomes an activist in the way, right?
Yes.
So I would like also to hear the opinion from Kun Thomas, though we can call him Thomas Kun Sapawat. What do you think about this?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, to having me to this panel. And I believe that I'm the youngest in the panelists here. So for answering the question that can CBT be a sustainable model, of course, I believe that they can be a sustainable business model. And because of once we doing to go to this community, we see that they are the conjoining component between CBT and sustainability. Some of the key components, like to create the value for the community, we're trying to raise the quality of life of the peoples and also to sharing experience, income distribution. These components are consist in the sustainable business model, everything. So I believe that once the community earns, the environment must be earned, like bringing to the international like standard like TSCC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Criteria. They focus on this sustainable concept in the 4 pillars, like in the management, in social economy, cultural and environment. This element is very conjoined to the CBT, and I believe that it can be connected, it can be a model. But for my opinion, I believe that applying the model in each destination, it must be adaptable. It cannot be a fixed model or the format or a prototype that can use in every destination or every community. Once in my experience, that in each destination, they have their own cultures, their own identities. So applying a model to each destination must be adaptive. And for FIFO, as we are the sustainable tourism consultant, and one of the vision is to be green, right? So a model that we added into every development is we call the adjust, reduce, and offset. In Thai, we call ปรับ ลด ชดเชย. This kind of model we adding on to in each sustainable and CBT to give them not just only the people earn, but environment earn. We not change, but we adjust. We not remove, but we reduce. We not just live there, but we just offset them. So this kind of model can be applied in the CBT, and with the collaboration of like TGO for the Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization, with helping with DASTA and TAT come together is the keyword. As Dr. Kanapa already mentioned, that is co-creation is the keyword of that model. So I believe that it can be sustainable business model for CBT for sure. Thank you.
It's very heart lifting to hear all the possibility from everyone. Can I just like give an applause for now? It's very strong. And for the first question, I would like Ajahn Jaranya to express her opinion since she had been working with CBT, community-based tourism, for so many years. What do you think about this?
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดี
Morning
ค่ะ
everyone. Wow, you are lighting up. The first question is not only first, but
No.
cover all over on today, half day discussion. Okay, so because you're four of you done a good job on time keeping, so let me speak longer a bit.
Sure, you
Need
can do
longer
that.
than others.
Because I'm the last one, right? Okay. I have 2 yes for your question. Okay. I'm not the middle person that takes side with the community, takes side with the between community and academic and the marketing, and say, have we should work together. So that's just the beautiful term. But in practice, come on, follow me. First slide, please.
Okay.
ไม่ใช่ business model ค่ะ อีกอันหนึ่งโอเคทำให้ใหญ่หน่อยนะคะ Alright, so this is like the example of ecosystem, yeah, of the how the CBT going to work, and you can see from the left side, the bottom column, go from the origin, middle, and destination. And these three group working together on the adding CBT value on the work we have done. Okay, so the previous our friends said in their perspective, like the friend from Lahut Inti said that this is very frankly speaking, 20-year project of CBT development, and most of them are failed because how you do it.
Yeah.
I got this the impression or answer from the government officer from Vietnam, say that I use your handbook, we write CBT handbook, I follow your step, but why it's not work? So same question, how you do it? Yeah, you do for them or you do with them, right? Yeah, because if you do for them, you will put everything on table, on computer, blah blah blah, making plan, making budget, and once in a while you invite the stakeholder community to join. But most of the theme of the trend, the agency run by yourself, so that you do for them. Yeah. But you do with them or let them be the main actor. We always keep seeing that CBT is a best tool for community development. Yeah, so CBT is not the tool to making money in tourism. So if we go to the second direction, that's go wrong, and disaster going to be big problem when we do that. Okay, so let's see that at the origin there are 2 areas. Yeah, the CBT inbound logistics. So this is a development process. Yeah, so now we have like the CBT, I have 10 steps of moving to before we open the CBT tour to the market, and will take a year at the beginning process. And the very first time, project, CBT is a tool for the small people to be voice of their problem. Okay, so I still emphasize that the CBT is not the tool for making money for the country. Yeah, but it's tool which is easily accessed by the local community because they present their own life, their own story, and that's the way of we do on the CBT inbound logistics. Okay, the second one for the operation, those 10 steps is not only one organization have to do. You can ask the stakeholder to join hand, but make a good food and a good team. Otherwise, people are going to mix in the same cook. You may heard about that. In kitchen, you have only one chef, right? The other like the follows further step. So different chef, different recipe. So that one have to be art of management. So for the CBT operation, of course, the KM, the knowledge management, we didn't work on nothing. Yeah, this is about the CBT work on the people life asset, the natural resource, the culture, the people. Everything is lively and still there. So we don't need to put everything in place for program, but we need to work that which group of the tourists want to hear on which area, and that the KM work. Yeah. And the second one is to design or to renew the local experience of tourists. Yes, I mean in Thailand, is the term of local experience is quite successful before COVID. Yeah, and even COVID passed by, this one still alive and charming. So right now we still use this theme for to attract tourists, to attract the people who interest in the local life or want to go back in time in their young age with the community local life, something like that. Okay. Or another one is the creative tourism. Yes, this is could be bring the satisfaction of tourists to bring the belief in themselves that I can do it in crafting, in painting with the local people. So that they have a lot of area to create, and that's how they run it. I think the head of the creative tourism is sitting here. Yeah, she might join. Okay, so you can see that those operations that the work have to be done. Yeah. In the middle, look at that part of to hand-on experience and activity from the pink area up there. Yeah. And to present to the various channel. So when we say channel, it's like the online, offline, poster, video, story, contest, blah, blah, blah. But right now it's happening like that. So in the middle part, another one is about the marketing. Of course, we have to make a bridge of CBT product and the buyer and the tourist. The bridge, this means make a connection, make a relationship, not just one-time buying. Yeah. So make it long-term. When we start CBT at first, in the UK already have responsible.com, that online operation like a platform. So we start to work together from then, that 1999. Yeah. So, and that still continue here. And see at the left side, the right side is the destination. That the area of the monitoring and evaluation of the tourist satisfaction. The CBT community have to do this every time. The tour operator have to do this every time with their tourists. Yeah. So we can combine this, the information, and improve or make it clear on somehow that when we can do or not do. So in this model, this is from my research, from our CBTI research and team, like the and also the coordinating of the 16 CBT in Mae Hong Son, which is all the Hill Tribe people, things like that. So we sum up with this model. So you will see that all stakeholders are here, and they should stick on the emphasize work first, but they can cross over to work together in the different line or different forum. But don't move everything on the left side, on the development, make the demand so big, but do less on the middle path. Yeah. So so make the supply so big, too big. I mean, in marketing, demand supply, you know that. If we have less supply, less tourist interest, and we have 100, more than 300, 400 CBT community, what's going to happen? Can you imagine that? Right?
Exactly.
So I think what you are answering now is kind of like aligned to our second question.
Yes.
Can I
as
just
well.
like, move on the second question, and then you can save that slide or PowerPoint, and then I guarantee you that all these things will be shown and be seen to the people.
Kun Tiranya just gave us the formula for success in
Yeah.
doing a CBT business. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ค่ะอาจารย์ So can I move on to the second questions, and then we can revisit any points that we want to emphasize again. So the second question is, how do CBT initiatives integrate local communities in their operational models to ensure inclusivity and balance benefits? What are the key challenges in aligning community aspirations with tourism development, and how can these be addressed? Can I pass the baton to Ajahn Kanchana as the first person who can answer this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sakunim. So, for the second question, actually, I really enjoy listening to the first question that all panelists respond. Like I learned a lot from them as well. But for the second questions, when we get into the step of like, okay, now we doing CBT and how we integrate into the business model. So it's come back a little bit earlier than when we talk about CBT, we talk about like community participations as a terminologies. I'm from academia, so I'll love to talk about terminology a bit. So we talk about like community participate by local people to develop for them, for their benefits, for the community development. Then the terminology move on to be like co-management, to be more managing, more engaged. And then we move on into stakeholder involvement. So you see how transforming for the terminologies. And now we even talk about what about being co-creations, more create for our quality of life. So that's what I'm talking about, like from just participating, like passive participating, maybe we move into more co-creations, we move into more inclusive in CBT as a business model. So that's me, like no one left behind. That's what the terminology say that. But in terms of reality, based on my research, on my like as observations, observers, and also myself as a tourist, I found like some key challenges still there. Even terminology change, practice maybe transitioning, change a bit. We're still back to the early I would say like classic questions of, is really CBT meet the needs, even it's evolving to the business model for co-creation, for inclusiveness society already. Meet the needs in this sense, I really think this is related to Kunik respond that this is community is how to say, meet the need for the tourism is really there. Ingredients of tourism is there in this community. Anything to attract tourists to visit. I think for 2 decades of CBT, we found a lot of lessons learned that actually some community, it's not for tourism. Why we force them to be the community-based tourisms? Maybe they want to be something else which they're good at. Because I think from recent decades, like 2 decades, 3 decades of this, Many policy was forced top down to the local community. Hey, you need to be the CBT because it's the fancies, new challenge, new products for Thailand tourism. That's for the perceptions. And we found that probably they're not for tourism. Maybe they're not ready to be, but maybe they don't want to be. And also type of tourism destination probably is not suitable for the logistic, for the accessibility, and also it's not really have a good ingredients for the CBT, as Kunik mentioned, I would like to say. So it's back to the classic question, like, is it really meet the needs of the local community development to develop CBT? And actually also it's really meet the needs of the visitor or tourist to visit that place. If not really mismatching, so I think it's failed that we found a lot of lessons learned from this case already. That was the first question that I think is a key challenge, and is it really meet the needs, both side, local and visitors? And also another key challenge that we really to address is, are we really going on the serious impact assessment and from last decade until now? Because we found a lot of problem from the CBT development, and of course, even in evolving to the business model, we probably see a lot of gaps and room to improve. What about like impact assessment, social impact assessment, economic impact assessment, or even initial on environment assessment? Are we really concerned on that? Do we need to have any practical process to do it in reality, so we can track back on what is really going on and what is room to improve, and how we move for the next step, even in the disruption era like this? So I would notice that. And also another big questions when we talk about CBT, I think we found a lot of the problem called social inclusions and social exclusions. Those who are in the CBT and those who are not really in, but they are living in the same destination, same community. So we found a lot of conflict in the local community for those who are in, not to exclude out. That would be the question. That's why now today we talk a lot about concept of inclusiveness. No one left behind from development, but of course it's still early to access that who left behind actually in this era. So that would be another point. And another classic challenge that we're still facing on that I believe that, and we can share from other experience, how we deal with the high dependencies on the tourism for that particular community. Can it be like the second occupation, second income generation besides their own original occupations? Can it be? How we balancing it? Because we see a lot of like disruptions in tourism sector already, since it's really sensitive industry due to the climate change, due to the disaster, due to the political unstable, due to the disease COVID-19, for example. So how we make it happen into more self-reliance for that community, besides just CBT 100% implemented that. And another question that I think that related to Nong Thomas, continually, how we make it continually. People come and visit, their visit, or how we sustaining the tourism's business in the community, because sustaining must be come first for the CBT business model, because we doing business maybe it's for social development, for community development, but it's some kind of type of business thing. So how we make it continually for that happen. That's the first issue is classic challenging that I think we're facing on that, and we're still trying to deal with that. But another thing also coming up, 3 more issues that I found out from my research, from my observers. What about like adaptive and still enhancing the sense of place and people? Now today, lifestyle change, the global community change, we're looking for some real experience, open experience. We're looking for some kind of like new learning things. So how community adapt into the new lifestyle of people, but still remain their own original and authentic from the sense of place and people? How we balancing that? And for the 6 issues, sorry for a little bit more on that. I think this is also related to Kunik mentioned when we talk about waterways, like water coast or even coastal zones. We are dealing with the climate. climate change, global warming, how those kind of community facing these kind of like vulnerable issues in terms of the climate, the weather, and also environmental surroundings, how they adapt. Now, that's why we talk about adaptive practice, even in the community, even in the community-based tourism practicing. So probably we need to step back to reassess on what kind of variable issues that CBT will facing and how we respond on that, how we even recover if something happens on that. And the last key challenge that I would like to respond, not the last. I found out that so many community-based tourism in Thailand, in other countries, in other regions even, somehow they start to face into problems called Disneyfications, make it to be just the Disneyland. I'm a big fan of Disneyland, so that's nothing wrong with that. But to transfer this to the community-based tourism for sustainability, somehow some community like mismatching to create the community to be just too real, too good to be true. How to say? To be just like a Disneyland, to be a lot of like setting up. That is loss of sense of authenticity and just tourists just visit just like artificial setting up community-based setting. So we found a lot of feedback on that. It's not that real experience that I want to experience. It just go for check-in with a lot of setting up. So it's somehow of challenging how we balancing the authenticity of the sense of place and people, which is also the key and the core idea of the CBT. And for social development, which my background is like in development studies, we also found that the issues are coming up in the terminology terms called gentrifications. It's some kind of like transform the community to be maybe more urbanized style. Like some people move in that community to operate some business practice, can be small, can be medium business, whatever. But then new people move in. What about like local people? Somehow they move out, maybe somehow they rent the land, somehow they rent their housings and they move out. So this is generate the centrifications of like, how to say, replacing the authenticity, both place and people. That's what become the issue that in the academia, we're starting to talk about the gentrifications due to the migrations, like urban people move in the local community, the local communities start to be struggling with like what kind of changing in our communities by outsider, like things like that happen. Okay. So that's leading to another wrap up key challenge. So actually, if we face this kind of like 7 points that I raising up, which is actually more, CBT, even in the business model practice, is it really help the community in that destination be self-reliant by themselves? Because back to the early concept of CBT is a community by community for a community. Are we really be in that? Or we really need to step back and reconsider what would be to move on? That would be my response. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot to concern. Thank you very much, Ka Ajahn. And then I think Ajahn Jaranya will have something to continue. It's similar to the first one that you just left. Could you elaborate and continue on this thing, Ka Ajahn Jaranya, please? The key challenges of this.
The last one of Ajahn Kannapa is are we still at the same as the last 20 years, or we need to rethink, reorganize, reframe? Yeah. Okay. So the CBT at first when we have done that, like I focused, we use CBT as the tool to voice people problem. Yeah. Because people in the rural, they are voiceless. Either indigenous, either the highland people, either the fisherfolk people, or even the urban people, I mean, like the in Salam Khong Tei, urban poor. So when they speak out, no one hear. But when we bring the tour in, people listen, people experience, people respond that why they have to do conservation, they have to do forest, community forest, why they have to use to do like the craft with the organic thing, blah blah blah. Yeah. So those kind of the true of the what we have done at first. And I think there's something still going on like the low carbon program today when we deal with the heating up of the world temperature. Yeah. So many activities in CBT is response clearly that this is the way. But listen, CBT is not the perfect, not the perfect what we call
Solution
medicine.
model.
Yeah.
Not the medicine, not the perfect one for everything, everywhere in the world. That's why the question of Ajahn Kanapa raising up. CBT is not fit with every community. Maybe we have 70,000 community in Thailand, the villages. Yeah, maybe only 10% that work well. The other they can go with other model. And keep in mind that CBT is not the way to make money from tourism only. Yeah, because the CBT have to set the foundation. I mean, you remember my slide, the previous one. Those group from the origin to destination, they have to work together, keep working like that all the time. So not just put on marketing, being tourist, and do nothing on the impact. Yeah, so that kind of thing. But back to the challenge, I like to share with you on one really serious thing, and I see from the question of the participant that I am from the youth. I don't know how to do that. I want to show you on the workshop, blah blah blah. Okay. My challenge or my concern is about the second gen of the leader. I mean, of the people who are going to work on CBT. Because CBT is still young, it's just 2 decades. Okay. So right now we have a leader on the age of 50 up or 40 up. But the age of 25 up to 40 something is still a gap. Yeah. I want to focus 2 areas. The one who stay in community or return back from COVID or even before that. This group went to university, work in city, sometime like 5 years, 6 years. Life too hard. I'm unhappy. I want to go home. So they come home. But from their lifestyle, from their what we call life experience, not like their father, mother. Yeah. They are from another gen. So how we going to create space for them? Yeah. And what I sum up from the experience working with this kind of group last year in Nakhon Phanom. Okay. So we need to create the value from their resource, their natural resource. They live beside the river, the canal every day. And they said, I never know that how meaningful of that until this training coming up. You know what I mean? So the difficulty and challenge is to enrich the young local people who living there, to interest, to digging up meaning and learn from the older, to be the and bring up to the storytelling of the CBT. That's very challenging, and I'm so proud that we have done so far. Yeah. So, and this is the one of another task for these young people is they have to be facilitator, creating the space of learning and sharing between the local and the tourists. So this is the job of the community tour guide. Yeah. So if the English program come like the tourists from the international client, so the guide from the company will do as the role of the facilitator like this. But you have to keep this one alive, enrich all the time. Otherwise, they get bored and you also get bored. And you don't want, and you will see that they're not happy. The second group of the young people or the next gen is the one who still not want to go back, but want to create space or work or business for their CBT village or their community. So I think the challenge is how we create the mindset of the social entrepreneur. Yeah. So like Nick also said, business is business. Business have to make profit. Business have to make profit and then use that profit to generate in different level. Yeah. So normally right now the CBT tour today, they do cheaper than they pay. Yeah. I mean because people don't cover their work fee, their volunteer a year, or their meeting for participation, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's a lot of challenges that people who get into CBT, have to fix, like learn on the go, right? What do you think about this one, Nick? What is the key challenges?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, looking at inclusivity and equitable distribution, I mean, that's something to focus in on. I think, a lot depends on the community. Some communities are more cohesive. Some communities are more united naturally. Some are full of more outsiders. There's been migration. People have left the village. People have arrived. There's also more entrepreneurialism in some villages than others. So it goes back to that idea of the right ingredients, the right community. One thing I think is really important is shared benefits. The benefits model and the benefit sharing model is really key to the sustainability of a CBET model. I think, focusing on infrastructure, shared good, the common good. So in other words, where funds are going towards clean water, waste management, education, healthcare, infrastructure of all sorts, that is very important, because look at it the other way, where you have a challenge is, let's say, the politics of CBET. Unfortunately, politics is in everything. We know that, not just in the Mekong region, every country in the world, but politics are also there in the village. I tend to notice my Cambodia observations, often in a homestay scenario, the person with the best homestay, surprisingly, or perhaps unsurprisingly, is the village chief or the member of the leading government party. So how do you challenge that? So the homestay model in general, I mean, it's a big thing to open up, and I don't want to say that I'm opposed to homestays, but is it the right model? In this day and age, is inviting foreigners into your home in a village the right thing to do? There's, what are you exposing people to on both sides? Is it safe? What about, relationships between the host family and the visitor? All these things are maybe not that responsible as we move 20 years down the line. With all the other things going on. You don't need me to go into too much detail, but it does pose questions. Maybe the model of a community lodge is more sensible, or a community guest house, or a community hotel, whatever you want to call it, where, there's one center in the village that people go to and everybody can participate. Because, as I said, for me, I've seen a real disparity in homestays based on education level of individuals in the village, based on political persuasion, and so on. Moving on to the more general picture about, can we walk, is it the right community, and so on. One interesting example was Wildlife Alliance in Cambodia. They set up Chipat, which has been quite successful, probably considered one of the sort of gold standards in Cambodia. However, they're experiencing problems today because more outsiders are moving in and setting up their own businesses. So it's no longer purely CBET. You've now got Phnom Penh players coming in with more money and working directly on a lodge, not with the community necessarily. So that's another challenge in itself. And they also set up one at Trapeng Rung, which is further down the river from Chipat, and that one failed. And they put their hands up and said yes. They walked away after about 4 or 5 years because they realized that wrong community in the wrong place. I think one more final thing to mention when we talk about the aspirations and matching with tourism development, and I always say this to everybody, whether it's, the World Bank or whether it's a tourism operator, whoever it may be, is never forget the competition and, be realistic. There's a lot of destinations in the Mekong region. There's a lot of competition within each country. So Cambodia, if you're Chipat, you're competing with Krache on the Mekong, you're competing with parts of the Cardamom Mountains, you're competing with Sen Monorom in Mondulkiri. So you've got a lot of competition. And the danger is that some of these communities can be quite insular, quite isolated. They're not aware of the bigger tourism picture. So in comes a donor or a private sector supporter or a combination of both, and they promise the world, we're going to save your community, we're going to change your lives, it's going to be amazing. But actually, these people probably buy into it because this all sounds great. But actually, if there's another 50 CBETs around the country, some of which are more established, some of which are in better destinations, some of which have better products, is that new CBET going to succeed realistically? So I think this is a dose of reality, and understanding the competition is really, really critical in all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for sharing the story from Cambodia and all. How about you, Kun Inti from Laos? What is your experience about the key challenges in this?
Yeah, I think it's not so different from on the panelists already have mentioned, but I think from my experience working with the community, because time is very challenging, because when you want to doing some tourism product in community, it takes time. So normally in Laos, I don't know what in other countries, because what you promise to them, okay, what happened is we working a lot in the place. Some place they live with the slash and burn and then the rice field. Some place they're doing they're earning some extra income from hunting and so on, or taking some resources. And of course, when we go, of course, even they are okay to work with us as a tourism tourist destination, as a community product. Some working very well when we can bring in the tourists right away, right? But of course, a lot of them was like, of course, I mean, decide to be a community tourism CBT. I think you try to involving a lot of people in the village, for example. But it doesn't mean that you're going to cover everyone. Maybe I think maximum is only 20%, I would say maximum. So it's going to be a guy, it's going to be some people with homestay. But I totally agree with Nick about homestay. I think in Laos we have the same problem. Homestay, I think maybe it's better to be a community lodge, for example. And then some people will be involving on cooking, and some people are doing some handicraft. But even that, I think, is maximum 20% of the local population. And how about the rest? Even if you try to doing something for to make the tourism product nice, so it's involved on the environment, littering, and so on. Sometimes when people have direct income from you, they listen to you, but other than that, they're not listen. They don't care because they're not really benefit. Of course, even you are providing some, we're doing involving fund. It's not much. Maybe 10% of the product that you sell to the tourists, you're adding. I mean, you deduct 10% of that, but it's not that big money. I think because there's a lot of things that they benefit that they can still working on. Even, of course, I think slash and burn or hunting is illegal, but I think they need to leave, right? So I think timing, because the local people now in Laos, we're also facing a big problem about cassava, because now cassava pricing is going very high. Even you introduce you to tourism product, but I think if you compare to cassava, even explain to them, okay, cassava will not last long. Local people, they are not thinking for a long time. They're thinking tomorrow or today, right? Yeah. So it had to be. It depends on the product, on the location. I mean, if you giving back a good benefit to them, and things can work. We have a already very good example during COVID. Only after COVID, I mean, when the pandemic happening in one of our activities in the South, I think the work that has been done for 10 years about hunting, about not cutting the trees in the forest, but during the COVID, there's no income, no other income for them. So it's back to the same
Back to
thing
the
we
same
start
thing.
to again before. Yeah, so I think timing is also important. I mean, depend on how can you bring the tourists and how can you bring the enough benefit for them for today.
You got both of us
I
covering our
know,
heads.
yeah. It was like, wow, it seems like it's gonna be like uplifting, getting to the locals' life, but actually there are so many walls around,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We have to like, how are we gonna get through the wall? So we go to Kun Thomas. What do you think about this? What is the key challenges?
Yes, after I heard it's a lot of challenges in for the CBT and development. The one thing that I see once we want to develop in the community is like right now everything changed so quickly. The world changed today and tomorrow is outdated. It's okay, but one thing is technology. Technology changed so quickly so that and most of them like unfortunately for the most of CBT practitioners are elderly people that I experienced with. They don't know how to use technology in terms of developing the business. So what we can do is we like help them, be a mentor for them. And for example, right now, people use TikTok, right? And like my aunt or my grandma also play TikTok. They sometimes they play like no better than me. I just ask them that how to repost this story so that people alert about the technology and TikTok. And for my study, for my research, TikTok marketing is quite very impactful. The reach and the engagement, like make people know is come to this world right now, so that to make technologies and CBT come together, it's gonna help to like develop more the CBT and business model as well. And the one thing that what we can do is to doing the co-creation process, bring the various organization, various stakeholder and expert to help them, to train them, make them catch up with the trend right now. So one can have just give one quick example. Once we develop in Gokmak, for Gokmak, they proclaim that they want to be the Thailand first low carbon destination and become the prototype of sustainable tourism of the world. The program is quite challenging, right? It's quite huge. One, I was a DASTA alum. I was one of the team head. Sorry, it's not my slide. Basically. So I once I was in the team heads of the DASTA to working with the committee to submit of the Gokmak to international level. So the law of DASTA at that time was DASTA is a middle person to coordinate, to support, and to encourage all the related stakeholders or associated to bring back the society to make the destination into the international standard. So we decide to put the Gokmak into the top 100. But the journey was not easy. We've been working for Gokmak to put into the top 100 for 2 years. They have to pass many criteria that we must pass, including inspiring story, to doing the management, organization, talk about the waste, talk about the pollution, environment. We look into the cultural, tangible, and intangible heritage sites. Talk about the marketing, the financing generation. All of this must be concerned. First year, we apply for first year is 2021. We fail. We come back and see what is the point that we fail, because we all practice everything for the low carbon destination. That's also concerned. But for the second year, once we examine the problem, the issue, that's why we fail for the first year. We found out that people in the local community don't understand what's the importance of submitting of that international standard or level. Why we have to put more work for that? When we ask about, can we have that information, the data that go to submit? Some people in the local community say that it's not their job, you know. But once we educate, make them feel that this is your like the gem of your destination. This is the one that people see, find the importance of the sustainability in the destination. You know, for example, Gokmak applies with like if we're talking about the waterway of the local, we do that no engine activities in the sea. Because Goma have a very strong charters or the rules of visitors that set by the owners or the communities. It's like a mutual agreement that to promote environmental friendly activities. For example, like encouraging to use bicycles and electric vehicle for the transportation. Islands, we avoiding the use of food container that made from plastic. No big to making loud noise after 10 p.m. or no jet ski. Every activities is come from the community. Want to see that why this activity must be included. They see that because it's our home. Why don't we our home?
Understanding.
Yes,
Yeah.
Goma is a very not a huge, not a big island, but the community is a heart that if come together, we can make a success. And in 2022, we didn't give up. We submit again, and yes, we got the winners. We top 100 in 2022. And as a data, and for me, I also visit Greece to accept the award. And then we found out, we met with the many stakeholders or many destinations. They come to ask us, what is about Gokma? Why is in the list? And
Yes.
and that's what we as a group proud that we have something to share to the world, that sustainability can be real and can be happening in Thailand. And
This is a very good example of pivoting and actually, like, community consultation, getting community to truly involved.
Right, but it's a lot of like difficulties before we get into that understanding
It's
together.
a lot of failures, but at the end.
Right.
So this is one very bright example.
Exactly right.
Nonetheless.
Well,
yes.
thank you so much, Kun Thomas. And now we're gonna move on into the third question. And just like difficult for me to say that, we already use all the time that we kind of like have.
But
Can
it's
we
so
just
engaging. We don't want
right,
to
I know. I just like it's very knowledgeable things. It's very important thing to hear. But can I just like ask you to make it a little bit condensed? So the next question, it will be I will start with Nick, since we talk about the environmental. So in what way does CBT contribute to environmental conservation and the resilience of waterway locales? How do CBT business models adapt to and reduce the impacts of climate change and the environmental? We touched this topic already, but I would would like you to just condense that.
Yeah, absolutely. So two sort of parts to that question. On the first part, obviously the key is, protecting whatever the asset may be. Could be architecture in a riverside town like Hoi An, Battambang, Luang Prabang, maybe jungle and forest in upcountry locations, mangrove swamps on the coast, flooded forest on lakes and rivers. I think one good model for this is the CPA, or the Community Protected Area, because this gives the CBET or the community an actual stake in the land and in protection and in protecting whatever that asset may be. And obviously UNESCO plays a big role in that on the wider stage with the biospheres. So we have Prek Tol in Cambodia on the Tonle Sap. There's places like Inle Lake and Indorji in Myanmar, Red River Delta, Can Gio in Vietnam, and many more in Thailand. Moving on to the challenge part, can they adapt and mitigate? This is another one where, it's not always easy to give a sort of positive answer, because it is very challenging. I mean, we've got to be honest that these are very big issues, and particularly with climate change as the elephant in the room, if you like. So you really need support from governments, national governments, and international organizations. There's no way a community on a riverbank can deal with those upstream issues on their own. I mean, I go back to the Mekong very briefly as a case in point. If you're a community in Laos, Cambodia, or Vietnam, what can you do about upstream dams? What can you do about water retention, water release? What can you do about how climate is impacting on the levels of that river? One very brief last example to wrap that up is the Tonle Sap again. We did a show for the BBC a couple of years ago called Our Changing Planet, which is filming over a 7-year period, every year coming back to the same countries to follow up on the issues. Cambodia was a kind of showcase for Southeast Asia, good and bad. And there's a village called Mae Chare on the Tonle Sap near Siem Reap. And that floating community where we filmed, we spoke to many of the elders. The fish catch is down dramatically to almost nothing from being one of the richest fisheries in Southeast Asia. And more importantly, the elders in the village, they don't want to be floating anymore. They want to relocate to the land. They want a new village on the land, and they do not want their children engaged in fishing. That sums it up, really. Thank you.
Wow. I have no word to react on
Yes.
that. Yes, quite strong. So how about in Laos, what happened? And, does it affect or does it help on the climate change and environmental?
Yeah, I totally agree with Nick's. I think the contribution to environment, of course, I think most of our CBT was designed to also stop people from slash and burn. Mainly because a lot of area, especially in the northern part of Laos, we have the slash and burn to replacing agriculture to the forest is a main thing that happened. So one purpose of CBT, I think, is to replace. I think the from that CBT can help to reduce the slash and burn, the hunting activities, and so on. But for those places that not, not don't have challenge with the slash and burn, but of course, I think CBT as a new tourism product, and we has been designed everything. So respect on environment, because in Laos, there are two things we sell in Laos is people. The authenticity of people and nature. And of course, is part of the environment. So it's very, very important. And of course, I think it's part of it, but to be success, I think there's another story. Maybe we can only doing it in their own territory if the tourism product is work. But I think we can't going further if there's some mining project is going to be happen next door to the village, or is some hydro project, or and so on and so on. It's totally, you can't change things that gonna be happening that. But I think in the small scale, yes. If back into the end of the day, I think if the tourism product there, it will.
And Kun Thomas, would you like to add more of anything into this?
Yes, for me, I will put it through like the CBT development project that's as this time as a 5-4. For example, we do at the Tham Sua Phetbury, the riverside village of Phetbury River. We use the co-creation process. As I mentioned, the first model is to adjust, reduce, and offset. These three models, I put it into and bring the creativity into each product that make it marketable. Also, we also do the carbon emission calculation in each program that we do to make a least CO2 to the world. And then we plan to do the offset by planting malls or buying carbon credits from the certified company that from TGO. The example that we do with the community is like we try to reduce waste, reduce the CO2 by, for example, I talk about the food. In Thai, we have yam pakut or pako fern spicy salad. The ingredients that used in the local grown own vegetable from the community. The process, we cooking with no gas, we using the method of salad mixing, and the food design on the plate, we use no plastic plates there. And some of the activities like making coconut crepe, making seed bomb for forest plantation, and rafting for the Phetbury River, that's all related back to the environmental friendly campaign project as well. And of course, this is a picture that seed organization from UN come to film a documentary about the Ban Tham Sua practice that how we can incorporate CBT within environment. And that's my part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kun Thomas. And now we go back to Ajahn Jaranya. Since you concerned about what is environment and the local people life integrate, what do you think about this?
Yeah, may I have the PowerPoint, please? I think people for speak up on the more or less on the same page already. Yeah. The question asked are we going to involve with the conservation issue, the world heating up issue? Are we do that? Can we success? Blah blah blah. Yes. This issue is become the global trend, which is all the government in the world have to involve. Yeah, they have to make the policy to make a line, make a path to get there. But I just want to show you how the in Thailand we do this one. This is like the research project, which is involved with like a lot of stakeholder, maybe more than 200 people working together. Yeah, and success what we heard from them is they meet up with 40 tour operator, an academic, and a startup group of people in the WTM just recently to talk about this in terms of B2B, business to business. Next slide, please. But one thing, keep in mind, this is not just happened by yesterday. This has happened because of the access of the local community who run CBT 5 years up. Yeah, they run CBT. They keep tourism for tomorrow. They keep their assets alive and healthy. That's why they can join on this project. The second one is about the 2 decades of experience of the researcher, from the tour operator, from academic, from the coacher or trainer people. So not just happened yesterday. And by this project, last year they do the full year of training, give to the different group of people in business group, in hotel, and I also involved with the touring program, which is the focus on how the European tour operator make the clean product in Thailand to meet together and make it up level. So we also do the responsible village visit standard, which means every group who bring the tour to that village have to certify that they got this standard, not just the villager. Yeah, so any group on the supply chain have to do that. So you see that the carbon neutral package, which is present in England, in the UK, there are 20 routes to zero routing, and like me always said, how the ingredient, yeah. You cannot just put one destination and bring people from Bangkok go somewhere with nowhere. So you have to make a route, and you will see that route is covered the Waterway community already. Can we go to the example of the routing? This one is Bangkok walking tour. Yeah. Next one, please. Chinatown. Yeah, people already know the Chinatown, but how to put on the low carbon activity. That's very interesting, right? So this means how to keep them walk a lot, rather eat a lot only.
Eat and walk.
Because eat a lot, they are not going to reduce any carbon.
Yeah.
And this is Damneun Saduak, which is combined with the typical Damneun Saduak floating market and the CBT area, which is nearby. Next one, please. Ban Klang, Phetchaburi. This is the kind of next door of the national park. So the very serious issue that how the tourism activity implement within the serious concern of the conservation. Yeah. Next one. Yes, this is Got Chang, as Thomas have says, but Got Chang in terms of the zip line. Next, please. This is the Isan or the northeastern. Normally for CBT, we have the less case in Isan or in the northeastern part. We have the answer that normally the European people go there and the Thai just go visit the temple. But the tourists, international tourists, we go by to enjoy the nature, to learn the culture, which is very deep in rooting. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So this kind of thing. This is also CBT community, Ban Din Dang, Tha Din Dang in Phang Nga. Next one. You will see the activity. tie-dye workshop, CSR activity, herbal compress. So this is all the low carbon activity that their both side, I mean the researcher and the community create together with their own assets. They already have, but just make it unity alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the example that can we do it? Can we succeed in business? What I heard is the big company like TUI is already come to one or two community. They might come late. I mean, they just come. But when they come, they're going to make another interesting development because their group choice like the 4-star premium, like that. So how they're going to deal with our way of local presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to setting up like the dinner room in hotel, but we're going to keep clean and safe. Of
And
course.
also premium enough
Yes,
in our
premium
view.
enough.
Yes.
So
No, thank
that would be interesting for the
Right.
next
Yeah.
region.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much, Kai. It seems like, we create awareness to people at the same time, not
Exactly.
just consuming when they are
Yes.
traveling, right? They are more sharing, not only to us, but to the nature and environmental issue as well. So, Ajahn Kanchana, could you sum up all these things, like this third question about the environmental issue and CBT, ka?
Thank you, Ka. Could you please show my slides, please? Actually, our panelists like mentioned all what is the key issues in practical terms already. So as an academia, I would like to just wrap up into the concept to see like overall picture on our positionings by now, right?
Just one moment. The
Okay.
slide is coming up.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So you can see from my slides, actually to talk about like environmental management, conservation management, or the climate change mitigation, something like that. We talk about this in terms of like we try to pursue sustainability. If you see like in the A circles, the 3 pillars, we've been knowing about these 3 pillars for 30 years about sustainable development, society, nature, and economy. But by now, we cannot like isolate into that isolated circles and overlap. Actually, is the same thing underneath each other. Like we run CBT's business model just in our society with people, with people behavior, with perception, attitudes, and also awareness and understanding. So it's underneath each other. And of course, all of that, we try to conserve our natural resources, which is the major access for CBTs, the nature's environment destinations. So I think is it really aligning with the concept that we try to implement in real and this recently we call sustainable consumption and productions, which also implement in the tourism sector. And of course, we're talking about like SDG goals, sustainable development goals, ESG in private and finance sectors. And even in Thailand, we talk about biocircular and green economy, which is really matched with a climate change, low carbon destination or a carbon neutral thing. And also, even by now, we start to talk about regenerative tourism. So you see, there's a lot of concept and approach coming up because we try to deal with what really happened. But all in all, in reality, and to make it happen, I think concept is there, approach is there. But to make it happen, it's just doing, taking it into action, which I think our panelists been talking about good examples already. So I think my keyword would be like, of course, we must pursue sustainable consumption and productions in going on and make environmental conservations integrated into the CBT with continuingly, with dynamic to adjust, to adapt into whatever has happened. If we talk about like disruption, we talk about vulnerabilities. And also the most important, I think it's about sense of belongings of people there. Local community or even a business operating there. Do you feel like if there is sense of belonging, there's a commitment and the awareness, and then we build up capacity by knowledge, by skill, and then we can move on into that. So the keyword is understand, aware, understand, and make it happen with the dynamic and consistency. So I I see like Ajahn Ganapa A B C D E. Is it what I'm supposed to?
Oh, no. I'm summarizing it for the
Okay,
audience
sorry.
for fun. Sorry.
I thought the audience will ask me. So the A B C D E probably some kind of keyword to make it more easier for that, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ka. I'm sorry I just call you out your name wrongly.
It's
but
just very
you're kind
catchy.
enough.
So I
Someone-
type into the comment to converse with our kind audiences.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
we come to the last question. This is this gonna be fun, I know, but we have to limited ourselves into some key answer. So the last question would be: can you share examples of innovative practices within CBT that have enhanced the sustainability and appeal of tourism offerings? Looking to the future, how can ASEAN CBT evolve to remain competitive and sustainable in the global tourism landscape? Maybe we'll start with Thomas.
Thank you.
Please, thank you.
For my last case, I want to share my recent and my proud project of this year, which is I working with the Tha Tien community. Tha Tien community highlights a distinctive identity in architectures and way of life, and it was a commercial areas along the river in the past and the old market, but now the community tourism communication is missed. People in this generation know Tha Tien just only like going to eat a steak and wine in front of the Wat Po or something if you swipe up the TikTok. But now it's more than that. In this regard, TAT working with five folk, we have a policy stimulate the economy and value the key value of communities, of Tha Tien community by using the destination branding. Branding is the key, but the process of branding this community, we use a lot of process. The process is was very complex. We do the brand DNA exploration that we come up with the keyword of the classic, heritage, and diversity. These three keywords are gonna represent the Tha Tien when people think about Tha Tien, and we do the community branding development through the brand elements that you see in the poster that we do. That's 6 key elements. Once tourists see, we will see that is that Tha Tien. And what we do the PR through the grand event and public awareness, which is Tha Tien Face that already set up. And one thing that we do the technologies. We use the social media platform, the TikTok, to create awareness that bring people in this generation know more that Tha Tien is more than just a steak and wine. There's more than that. And some of the product of Tha Tien also showcase like this is some of the herbal oil of the one people know is like
all those.
Is that for sale
my
too
favorite.
now?
yes, you can email me if you want that. I will bring it to the community. So every product must be features in this in this campaign, in this project, to do the branding, to keep the community stay alive and stay sustained. And for all the cases that I already mentioned, that one thing that where the product will go, where the route will go. So five folk creating the platform called Go Green Booking. Go Green Booking is a platform that include every eco-friendly product, services, and green accommodation to showcase that what Thai product has that focus on the communities and environment, and make people around the world know that Thai CBT and sustainability is happening and can ready to welcome like every tourist around the world. So that for the Go Green Booking, the last tagline that I want to share is just one click, you can make a big impact at Go Green Booking. Thank you so much for that part for me.
Thank you,
Wow,
Thomas.
thank you.
Thank you. So the next one I would like to go to Kun Inti. How can you remain competitive and be sustainable at the same time?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, I think we are very lucky that's still here after COVID, because we have a few operations from north to south. And of course, I think most of our product now is back and running. We have a few examples. Of course, I think we have one place in Northwest Elephant Conservation Center. The main project is more on conserve the elephant, and then more educational activities to invite the tourists from Luang Prabang, which is, I think, Sanyaburi from Luang Prabang is another Before it used to be 4 hours, and now after the road construction is finished, is less than that. I mean, up to half. But I think the project is running from one elephant, and now we have more than 30 elephants. So it's involving a lot of local people there. Of course, the mahout, because after Lao closed the forest, I mean logging, and when the prime minister very serious closing the forest, and a lot of elephant was like out of job. So tourism is another opportunity for the elephant. But of course, I think our conservation center, we are not allowed tourists to be sitting with the elephant. It's more educational, because I think the purpose of the project is to expanding the population of elephant. So bring back the elephant to the nature is very important, and I think we able to succeed on that. Even the COVID time is very, very challenging for us. And the second second project we do in the middle part of Laos, the rock viewpoint. Also, I think that the starting up with the local community. I'm so sorry I have no presentation to show you, but I'm sure you can see it on the Facebook or on the Google. You can find it. I think first time when we invest into that place, of course, I think tourism is very new to that location, because actually the viewpoint that we take the concession from the government is very beautiful, but it does not benefit anything to the local community there until we start to develop into that place. That place actually is the people stopping, every people is passing by that way to the east of Laos, to Vietnam, they would stop, taking photo, enjoying view, and going to the toilet, natural toilet, throwing out the garbage, and just go. And when we started up, of course, they can still go into toilet, but it's well managed. I think a proper toilet, and they control the garbage there, because we have the garbage bin, everything. And with that project, I think because we're putting in the concept, of course, the community is a priority. We employ the local people. We're setting up some area for local people to selling their product. Of course, it's not so smooth, because we're starting up our project just 3 months before COVID.
Oh.
But luckily, I think the product adapt themselves very fast to the local people, because of the activities. We have quite a lot of activities there, and it able to sustain, the product after COVID, and now it's become one of the quite popular product, because we have a lot of activities, a lot of adventure activities. And one thing that we do there is we're working with the local people in terms of the patrol into the park, because we got the concession of 7,600 hectares of forest. Actually, we proposed for 250, but the government said, okay, why don't you take 7,600? Yeah, I said, why not?
Okay.
If the price is not so expensive, of course, I think the price is quite reasonable. But now I think the government realized that, to protect the environment there, it costs us, because we have the ranger program every 2 days in the week. So working with the local people, with the forestry district, to do the ranger program to stop people from the cutting and hunting. Of course, now if you go there, wildlife in terms of the Lao language, people go there now, you see it. Every day in the morning, it getting more and more, and become of the magnet to bring the tourists there, which is of course the people who got the direct income from it is the local people who we employ. And of course, the supplier that we prioritize to use the local people from that area, and also the market that we create for them. Yeah, and of course, I think the third one would be the one in the national park in the south, treetop. I think Nick was there as well. I remember it's quite a tough product, that it works very well, that as I explained it to you in the beginning before COVID. Of course, now it's getting to normal again now. Start to be a lot of tourists back, which of course I think employing most of the local people there. I think 20% of local people in that village, especially young people, they're still there, but in the village because they have work. I think we employ 100 people in that people. I mean, from 500 people in the village. So now it's back and running again. So
That
as what I said, I mean, we can be sure that involving the benefit to the local people and the environment and conservation as well in the smaller scale. But I think when doing more, I think with that success, we can start to present to the government to see how important of the community or ecotourism practice.
Thank you so much. I can see like the little universe happening there, like, you know, the new generation work there and protect their own nature. And plus, you inviting visitors to come. I just want to pack my bag and go now. So I pass this thing to Nick. So what's happening in Cambodia? What is the vision?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a very quick initial shout out to Battambang for becoming the first creative city in the Creative City Network in Cambodia. In terms of a good example of product, I think one to focus on, which actually covers several sites in brief, because I've already mentioned some others, is what the NGO Wildlife Conservation Society does with Sam Visna Centre, which is a not-for-profit small-scale tour operator here. And they actually have a series of very rare birding sites throughout Cambodia, where you can see the giant ibis or the Sarus crane, or, you know, really, really rare water birds, which Cambodia has in large numbers, and also vulture restaurants where you can see vultures feeding. And finally, they also up in Mondulkiri have gibbon spotting. Now, their model, which is very good, is obviously they have sort of very small scale, not even just flash packer really, small little community guest houses or community camps, and they bring in international tourists, but they always include a wildlife spotting or conservation fee in every activity. So you've got your package, which is quite upscale compared to the facilities on offer because it's conservation oriented. But the point being that if you spot this rare bird or this rare gibbon or whatever it may be, then a $30 or $40 community fee goes straight in. So as well as all the other shared benefits, there's a tangible benefit between the visitor spotting that rare wildlife. Therefore, there's an incentive for the community not to cut down the habitat or destroy the habitat and not to hunt those particular birds or gibbons or so on. That's a really good example what they do all around Cambodia in places like Tamat Boe, Prek Tol we mentioned already, and also in Simar Protected Forest in Mondulkiri. Moving on to the second part of the question very briefly, you know, how to sort of adapt and grow and succeed and flourish. I'd go back to what Thomas said in an earlier answer actually, which is technology. You know, if we look back to when CBET was in its beginnings in the 1990s, the key to survival then would have been, sorry to say, getting in the Lonely Planet or in the Rough Guide or in a guidebook. You know, that was the Bible for travelers.
Get to Lonely Planet first.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's no longer the case, of course. I mean, it's still useful if you can get a listing in a guidebook, and guidebooks are still selling and being read. But actually these days, it's, you know, OTAs, experiential booking sites, TripAdvisor and so on. So if you look at the habits of younger travelers, they're far more likely to be booking something on Viator, Get Your Guide, Klook, Airbnb Experiences, and a million others I've never heard of. So, you know, I think CBETs need to go digital to be on the virtual travel map. And I think examples that Thomas shared of Go Green and things like that, having more sort of specialized booking sites that either are sort of offsetting your carbon or have green credentials or are responsible and so on. I think that's really important. And whether they are country by country or whether they're regional or whether they're global, that's going to be a big new trend, is having, you know, proper, sustainable, responsible tourism booking sites that are vetted and that probably give some of their profits to these organizations and these initiatives.
Thank you so much. Right, we have been traveling to so many countries already by talking to you guys, right? Now we will go to Ajahn Jaranya. I don't know where she will take us to, but I'm sure she will take us to somewhere.
Now go to the waterway.
Okay.
Okay, video please. So this video presented by the Thai PBS in Thailand, but English program. like the post-COVID
Right.
on
But right now,
tourism.
the province is now focusing on mindful tourism with its Krabi Go Green initiative.
Can we go
Let's
louder?
find more in this report by Stephanie Adair.
Krabi, famous for its breathtaking beaches characterized by its limestone cliffs and dense mangrove forests, this paradise wonderland is now looking to go green. In 2013, the province announced the Krabi Declaration, which aims to drive low-carbon tourism with stakeholders coming together to support the idea. The Krabi Go Green initiative is designed to aid the transformation and help locals understand that building a sustainable and eco-friendly hub for tourists is the way to go. The initiative is supported by Dr. Siwarit Pongsakorn Rungsin from Walayalak University, who has spent a decade researching greener possibilities for this mangrove paradise.
กระบี่เขาฟันธงเลยครับว่ากระบี่จะเป็นเมืองท่องเที่ยวคาร์บอนต่ำที่ใช้กิจกรรมการท่องเที่ยวสีเขียวพยายามขับเคลื่อนการทำไม่ว่าจะเป็นธุรกิจหรือภาคชุมชนนะครับมีการปลูกฝังไอเดียมุมมองกันเนี่ยตรงนั้นจึงผมมองว่าทำกันจนเป็น DNA ของกระบี่ครับ
Other than promoting ecotourism, Krabi has also supported locals in joining the cause by using natural energy and trying to replace activities which affect the environment with something more eco-friendly. Five-star hotels changed their recycling methods and adopted a low-carbon way of doing business, while locals changed their services from long-tail motorboats, which use fossil fuels, to a gondola tour to reduce gasoline consumption and noise pollution.
ทุ่งอีเพียงเป็นชุมชนท่องเที่ยวที่อยู่ในเกาะลันตานะครับเมื่อก่อนมีกิจกรรมล่องเรือโดยใช้เรือหางยาวเพราะว่าชาวประมงนะครับช่วงบ่ายเขาจะว่างเขาก็จะเอาเรือมาให้บริการนำเที่ยวแต่ปรากฏว่ามีสองส่วนที่ตามมาคือมลภาวะทางโลกร้อนนะครับเนื่องจากการใช้น้ำมันฟอสซิลใช่ไหมฮะส่วนที่สองก็คือเป็นเรื่องของการเปลี่ยนแปลงของสัตว์ป่าเนื่องจากตรงนั้นเป็นป่าชายเลนที่มีความอุดมสมบูรณ์มากๆครับมีสัตว์ป่าอยู่ในป่าชายเลนการใช้เรือเนี่ยเสียงดังส่งมลภาวะทางเสียงตอนหลังก็เลยเปลี่ยนมาเป็นการพายเรือเรียกว่าเรือกองโดล่า
Dr. Siwarit added that the next move is to instill a wider understanding of the Go Green initiative, so the locals will become part of Krabi's very own strategy to attract more tourists who enjoy the local way of life, while thriving in partnership with mindful tourism, which, he said, is the ultimate win-win situation. Stephanie Adair for Thai PBS World.
I'm pretty sure that many people would love to go to Krabi, and I would say the Go Green initiative is a great initiative as well. I would love to go there at least once.
Of course, right. And as before COVID, there were already talks about making our tourism industry more sustainable. And with COVID, we have been seeing reports of natural attractions recovering from.
Okay. Thank you, Ka. So if you say when you see the brand or theme of Krabi Go Green is from the 2013, yeah,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
recently, not just low carbon trendy in the global way, yeah. So it's strong foundation of this cooperation between Green Hotel, 10 CBT community, and all the supply chain. I mean, restaurant, boat, van, blah, blah, blah. So working together. So that's why they are fighting when the government want to put the nuclear power plant. Can you imagine that? This
Yeah,
all
yeah.
beautiful and have a power plant on there.
How would we think of that?
Yeah, so that becomes serious and that paused for a while, but we don't know when it's coming up again. Yeah,
Yeah, we
but
cannot trust that.
this one mention didn't go in the news is the team saying that they work on like the multicultural people. Yeah. big group of the Krabi people migrate from China long time ago. So they call Baba Yaya, and they still present their own roots with pride and share this to the tourists. So I myself used to dress up in that dress and take photo, but not pretty like they are, but because the costume is not just the costume, it's about the inner of you to be there. Yeah. So this team, this Krabi Green said that the river had a source. The tree must have the roots. So be a person who doesn't forget which is you're rooted. Yeah. So which means it's not just a product tourism product. Your culture, your root. Go deeper where you come from and bring it to share. Yeah. So that and to be proud of. And you can live among different and various culture. And that's the beautiful thing we have seen in Krabi Green. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ka. Therefore, going to the future, we shouldn't forget our roots and bring it along, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Ajahn Kannapa will have something to say about this thing too.
Thank you, ค่ะคุณนิ่มค่ะ this is for the last question, right? It's so fast, right? Before I'm talking about other cases in Japan, we should briefly, because I would like to mention about the Tatian that Kun Thomas mentioned. I'm really happy that you working on that Tatian, because frankly speaking, 7 years ago, I was asked by some organization to work in that community, and I was kicked out by the community because the community members said like, yeah, it's true. This is true. This is the academia pain. So,
Get kicked out at one point.
they asked me like, Ajahn, what do you want from us? What do you want? What do you want from us? So that really reflects something to me as an academic. Like, you need to be down to earth. You need to working with them. So later in other communities, or Tatian was like really kick me out, right? Other communities, other country, it start to be reversed. Like, Ajahn, would you come to work with us? We want to be the CBT. Why don't you come to help us to think? And that's what I'm talking about. Co-creations is happening, which I'm happy that is evolved to be like this, right? So co-creations, that's me, like we have like mutual understanding, we have mutual direction that we're going to this way, but we distribute role and distribution into our expertise, our background, and that's what working right now. But of course, it's still room to improve here in Jaipur and concept. We were talking about this more and more in future. But back to the examples of the ASEANs, and our panelists already give some, which is really interesting. I would like to visit the Krabi as I see the future in the videos. Recently, I'm working with the Japanese case, Japan country, like for after tsunami. So we found out like to make it community-based tourism practice, Japan implement, which are really interesting, this concept. They call it Machizukuri. Apologize if I'm wrong pronouncing or not in Japanese language way. So they implement like Machizukuri means revital, reborn, regenerate what we already have in our community for community members. So they think like to make it more livable community, we make our community good for our community members, placemaking design for our community members with a lot of social infrastructure, learning space, that kind of thing. And then after we're doing a good thing for our community, then people will come to visit our community as through tourism, through visitors, through explore, whatever. So I think this is a pretty interesting idea from Japan, like they're focused on community-centric, their own community-centric. Make it nice for their own people, their own citizens, and then welcome to other people to get this experience from the community. So I think this move to the concept called social innovation through tourism, which I think is pretty interesting for me as I'm from the service innovations, right? So Japan doing very well. Now I'm working with them for the Ichinomagi city in the Miyagi, which is the worst hit by the tsunami. In the city, they have a river, Kitagami River cut cut through the community, and it's what devastated by tsunami on that year, 2011. So they put this kind of concept, Matsuzukuri, with the placemaking designs, with a open conversation, involve people in community, people like academia like me, and also some private sector to make it co-creating for their reborn, revital the community, to welcome for visitors to learn on what really happened. And that's what is open original experience happen. And I think it is a good example. If we have more time, I can talk about this for like hour and hours, but this just so briefly for this webinar. So,
Wow.
so
Wow, it's
to wrap
very
Yeah.
inspiring. It's like very tactical as well.
Yeah, this is very interesting. And of course, we would like to hear more of everyone's story, you know, all the example that you experience. It's just no way that we all can experience it in one go, right?
Yes.
Well,
sorry, is this I'm the one who will be to wrap up because another slide is coming? Or
no, you can go ahead. You can
You're
can
the
wrap
last
this up.
one.
Yeah, you're the last
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Conclude, please
So-
conclude
Yes.
for us.
Let me show my last slide with the hard things, slide things.
One moment.
All right. It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, coming, right. I see like time is running up.
Ah.
Okay, so this one. So all in all, since we've been talking for like almost in 2 hours with the full question, with a very interesting knowledge and experience on our panelists, I learned a lot from you as well. So, last slide, please.
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yes. Please continue in the meantime.
Yeah, I think for the keywords to moving on for unlocking with the CBT with the business model, it's just for keywords from my perspective, from my background, from my experience. We talk about like what if, what while. It's coming. Yeah. What is CBT business model that we should conduct? Of course, it's not one size fit all. It's not about copy paste from one to another. We need to know ingredients. We need to know what is exactly the needs, meet the needs, what I mentioned, right? And also we need to have like, what if something happened, what next, what else? So it's some kind of adaptive to deal with vulnerable issues, whatever coming up is adaptations, and also the resilience and how we bounce it back if something happened for the community. And also we need to think about what wows. So it's all about a business canvas that Ajahn mentioned, like what wow, what can be attractive for people to visit, because CBT business model, business is business. It's a marketing strategy that Kun Thomas also mentions about it. So we need to have some kind of like click idea to make it more attractive, but of course cannot forget what are we, not just like wanna be, but just what we are being in a critical way, right? And of course, for already what is happened, what we've planned, nice plan, C plan, just make it happen, taking in actions with impact assessment through the time that the life cycle to monitor, keep evaluate on what we try to improve, think about our pain point and try to find a way to improve. I think that's what the keywords that important for moving on to unlocking CBT. What is, what if, what wows, and what work. And of course, it's all about working with head, knowledge, capacity, skill, heart, sense of belonging, concerns, awareness, and understanding, and hand, which means like we work together as a collaborative network, co-creations. And of course, so we design also come in because tourism is all about service. So how we decide to make it more attractive and meet the needs for both locals and visitors and tourists. And also the digital platform is important. We are living in a digital era, but I think it's just smart enough to make it effective, not too smart, not too high tech, not too technology, because we're dealing with the local community. So make use of the IT and technology just smart enough to make effective. I think it would be like balancing to that. And of course, don't forget to make it dynamic, consistency, and adaptable for what happened in future, foresight, futurist. Right? That would be my wrap up with this.
That's a beautiful
Wow.
wrap.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
I don't need to do anything because you already put everything together.
Thank
All
you.
the understanding of community,
you.
the timing that we need to give,
Yes.
the concern, the right the right ingredients, technology, and just use and just be there long enough. right? So now we also have more questions.
We have actually 7 questions from the audience, so I'm gonna go quickly. And the first is not question, the first and the second is a request. The first one is from Kun Chat Ganok Jindapakorn to Kun Sappawat. Can you please share to the audience where they can keep up with the progress of Tha Tien Fest project? Pretty sure that they all want to know not only on how to build a brand, but also on how to implement the project as well. So if Kun Sapawat can share into the chat for all the audience would be very nice. And secondly, from Miss May Basic to Kun Nick, can you please share as well the list of the green booking platforms that you have mentioned in your answer? So Kun Nick, if you can also share directly into the chat, that would be lovely. So comes to the question. The first question is that from Kun Ong Sala Marma. He is an indigenous youth from Chittagong hill tracts in Bangladesh. He said that as we know that Chittagong is a natural tourist attraction, but he said that most hotels and accommodations there are actually owned by big corporates, not the local community. The reason is the lack of finance at the local level. So he asked, like, just kind of like to give him a little bit of food for thought on how a local community can access financial support from donors to actually start owning more hospitality infrastructure in their hometowns. So if you have some example or some inspiration to share with him.
Yeah. So, well, there are so many elements to touch on this thing, but if you think who have experience in this and can give an advice, you can raise your hand and just speak up for our audiences. Maybe อาจารย์จรัญญา
Maybe the pause that the fundraising a bit and see how you can work with the hotel surrounding you. Okay, so we have experience in Phuket. You know that Phuket we have like is that 3,000 hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or plus.
Or plus. Yeah.
That's why we try to put the contest on the expo, right? Yeah. With the small island. And the 4-5 star is like the 30% maybe. Yeah. Okay. So we have one community setting that and surrounding by those 4-5 star hotel. So the activity they can join is because in the community they are Muslim community. So tourists in Phuket, they always, European mostly, they always stay like a month and stay with the family, come with the family, like the one in Krabi. The tourists in Krabi is stay for 3 months. They just raise the child up there. It's cheaper, nicer, healthier than at home. Yeah. So that also happened in Phuket. So the community, the CBT community offer the daily community activity like the cooking, raising the แพะนี่อะไรนะ geese
goat geese is the hand. Yes.
Something like this, or cooking, or the pick up vegetable. So not so complex, but easy for the tourists at the community to join. So you can charge for that. Yeah.
Yes.
But before this one happened, you and the hotel have to work together because the hotel will not just sending tourists to be there in your place.
Yeah.
Because they're not sure what's going on. Is that safe enough? Is that clean and clean? Blah blah blah. So your team and the hotel manager have to sit down and talking about the activity and during post process together. So right now, one 5-star hotel there, their shareholder, the big shareholder of that hotel said that if we not have people participation, we are nothing. Yeah. If we don't have local participation in our hotel activity, we are nothing in the global market. That's what it is. Okay. So so you can create like a small activity for them because they're not going to be stay for whole day. They come for rest, right, for holiday.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
they need to bring their child out every day. Yeah, today picking up, today tomorrow cooking, the other day do something else, something like this. A part
So
of
not to
the
actually compete with the big ones on the big ones business, but to actually find
the
way
way
to work
together.
around, like creating the activity, creating the dynamics that would attract people.
You're
That's
right.
that's a very good thought. Thank you very much, Kat. So this is the question from Mr. Marma. The second question from Kun Arlia Gehang. Sustainability is a complex issue that needs transdisciplinary approach by many stakeholders. The question is, at the ground level, what tourism models do you think can really complement CBT? For example, could it be nature-based tourism or ecotourism? In what angle? So,
What do you think, Mr. Inti or Mr. Nick, or you are thinking about answering?
would you wait for something in particular that you see from your experience that is like truly complementing the CBT effort?
Okay, I think I can share a bit here. So the question basically, is it there any ecotourism or community-based tourism practice with success, right? Is
Yes.
it yeah. I mean, I think few people in our panel already share, and I think most of us we have the example, and for me as well, I think that there was a success story. Of course, I think it need also a lot of stakeholder, because when you're talking about environmental sustainable, I think everyone had to be participate. So you get more and more people participate. When once you want them to participate, of course, I think the benefit is also important. Understanding, because I mean, if they want to doing something like they used to do and to change them, I think it need to be a reason. So I think understanding is very, very important, and of course, in the same time, they also have to be part of it and benefit it as well.
Thank you very much. So next question in line from Miss Agnes Maingat. How to draw a line between cultural tourism and over-commercialization of culture by tourism? Well, that's a very, very analytical question. How do we, like, is there like a solid way that once we start to realize that this is beyond doing culture tourism to the level of over commercializing the culture by the tourism? Has there been like kind of a case studies or anything that would solidify this very technical question? Maybe Ajahn Kannapha. I see you're smiling.
I'm thinking about like this question probably related to the key challenges that I mentioned earlier about don't be Disneyfications. Don't be too good to be true. Just be real. So I think somehow to balance the reality culture with the culture tourism to attract tourists, which we call like commodification things, somehow it's a little bit difficult for the host to make it happen. But to respond on it, since I'm not in really the practical, I was kicked out from that practical thing. So I think we need to really step back again to my first question, like why we need tourism for our community, to promote our culture, to be proud of our culture, to recognize our culture, to conserve our culture, or what do we want from that culture? And of course, I don't really have the clear exact answer, because it's like on one size fit, or it depends on that situation of the community, how they want to work it on, how far they want to go through. So I'm apologizing, I don't really have a clear concrete answer for that.
Don't worry. It's also very like something that it would need a lot of it would come from a very diverse scenarios as well, so to say. But thank you for the question from Kun Agnes. She actually has another question, which I think is for Kun Sapawat. So as a person who has experience doing more like cultural products, tourism products as well. So while indigenous and eco-friendly materials are desirable to use, oftentimes they're not lasting, therefore becoming more expensive. So how do we tackle this higher cost in doing a CBT business?
And for that question, I believe that it must come from the agreement of the community first, that what way that this product or to bring the cultures to commercialize or to the public. We have to have the agreement that we will use that cultures or a very campaign for just not just for the materials, just but inside of that, we have to look deep that is the product that want to sell like indigenous or eco-friendly materials gonna be like more expensive, but must be in the standard of the real life. We not must overprice or something. But lastly, it's just come from the agreement. For example, in Thailand phase, if go back to the previous question, we have a very sensitive issues like we Thailand nearby the palace and Wat Po, right? Some of the souvenirs, some of the product sometimes may relate to that kind of cultures. But we have to see all the stakeholder. I already mentioned that every stakeholder must be included all, because last time some of the stakeholders in that area won't join. But once the product or the creative was launched, that's a problem. So that to end this one, it must be the agreement of all the stakeholders for that.
Thank you very much. Okay, last but not least, very last question, but very, very short as well. I think it will also go for Kun Nick or Kun Jaranya. The question from Kun Wan Peng Singharat. How does CBT contribute to climate change adaptations? I mean, we have seen a lot of, you have mentioned a lot of examples already on like the eco-friendly, environmental conservation-based travel initiatives, but to actually tackling the climate change adaptation agenda, can you provide a bit more examples on those? So probably Kun Nick, would you like to go first?
Sure, very briefly. I mean, from my point of view, the most obvious way is through the linkages with these CPAs, community protected areas. So in many cases throughout the region, these are quite large tracts of original forest, and these are stores of very substantial carbon credits. And obviously, if can get the community involved in protecting these, then that's good for the country as a whole, good for the planet as a whole. So I think, for me, that's the most direct and obvious way I can see.
Thank you. Ka. Kun Jaranya, we give you the closing.
Actually, this forum we talk about low carbon since the beginning until the end, no?
Yes.
But of course, contribute to the climate change is not only low carbon. It's about the less plastic. Yeah, no foam, which is in tourism, especially in CBT, we have been promote that. I think at the beginning, we used the pinto อะไรนะภาษาอังกฤษว่าอะไรนะ the local container that have divide
multi-layer container.
Something like that. So that's the first area we work. We use that because the local people use that. Yeah, and bring their own plate, own no plastic at all. We have to very feel sorry about that, because when the more tourists come and tourist doesn't want to drink the well water anymore. So that's why the community have to bring out the plastic bottle water and become a big, huge garbage issue.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to contribute to the climate change is from the low carbon we're talking about is about how you calculate the tour activity. You have seen that the tour activity is like the carpool, bicycle, walking, eating with like not the cooking for 2 hours. and eating for 10 minutes, something like that. So have use energy less and put your energy more. Yeah. So
Yes.
those kind of things. And actually the product in the CBT community is already low carbon because they use the organic all kind of thing, the national color dye, which is from the specific area, from Nipa palm root, from the tree in the forest, blah blah blah. So those kinds already contribute. Okay. But if you put as like the global trend, big trend, Thailand is like the number 4 or 5 in ASEAN right now. I mean, it's still a lot more have to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the closing. It's a lot more to do. We still need. That's why we need to come together for this project, and for this is like a start point of doing a lot more things that we actually need to do.
Right. This is only the first time that we will get together and discuss about this. So there will be more. Kun Luka will elaborate more of the details.
Yes. So just before that, please click another round of applause to our panelists and Kun Nim, our moderators today. Thank you very much for this very active, very energetic conversation, and also thank you the audience who pop in with questions as well. So ladies and gentlemen, our audience, it comes to the conclusion of our webinar. To wrap up, I would like to keep you updated with a long list of activities that we have prepared for you until 2024. So our next webinar, I'm just gonna be the one manning the thing. Okay, the next slide, please. Our next webinar will be on the 3rd of February. So on Saturday, it's going to be on a topic of sustainable gastronomical experience in the UNESCO locale. So it will be featured with a high-profile keynote speaker that we cannot reveal you the name yet, but is high profile, and a panel discussion by professionals who are chefs and food waste reduction experts. So you now can register for this by clicking the register button that I also share in the chat, and or you can scan the QR code which you see on the screen right now as well. So this will be like the project portal that we will use for every activities is the project portal on Linktree. The buttons will keep changing to the most updated event for you. And the second webinars after that, on the 20th of March, is harnessing digital tools. So as Kun Thomas has already mentioned, and foregrounding us to the very exciting, deeper conversation, how to harness digital tools for the greater community involvement in the tourism narrative. Then we're going to go on, since it's approaching our Songkran or Ting Yang or water festival in the Southeast Asia. So there are different names for this. We're going to start exploring on the 10th of April before we go splashing, exploring the sustainable festival and event tourism as the growth driver, how to do the festival in a way that will not harm the local community at the end of the day. Then in late May, in the 29th of May, we will start talking about how to share indigenous stories and experiences from the source of the river, from the beginning of the rivers, for a more profound tourism journey, how to walk away from the dreadful homestay that Kun Inti and Kun Nick agree that we should not go back there anymore, to something more constructive, something more lasting, and something more beneficial to the local community. And lastly, we will end the project with the last webinar on the 19th of June, addressing the challenge of the plastic use in travel, from policy formulation to practical application. So these are the lineup of webinars for you. Next slide is, so next, we have the on-site workshop, so that will coincide with the next webinar. So on the 3rd of February, which is the on-site workshop that is actually, since is a pilot workshop for this time in our first year of the project, but we rest assured that in future years we will try to make it more inclusive to more Southeast Asian countries. The on-site workshop, which will take place in the beautiful Nan O city of Thailand, will be exclusively for tourism professionals working in Cambodia, in Lao PDR, and in Thailand. So it's all for the tourism professional, tourism students who are like pathing their ways to work in the ecotourism or community-based tourism in the future. And what we will do there is the pilot field workshop that will bring together the two concepts of UNESCO, the two giant global concepts, intangible cultural heritage or living heritage and creative city networks. How do we utilize these global recognitions for sustainable tourism in waterway cities in the 3 countries? So we will bring together people from all the different walks of life to build a network of sustainable tourism professionals who know how to use local heritage and cultural assets in the healthiest way for their communities. It will happen in both Bangkok on the first day, and then we will fly to Nan O City for the 4th to the 7th of February. So from the 3rd to the 7th of February, that's when this will take place. Bonus is that all for the selected applicants, UNESCO will pay for everything for you. So that's a good thing. It's like getting a scholarship or something. So apply today. The deadline is the 15th of December. So people who are still staying tuned in our webinar, you're the one getting the news on this first. So click on the link tree, the same link tree QR code here. You can scan the same thing. And I've already put the web link, the web news link in our chat together with the post on X and on Facebook that you can share to your friends. Okay.
Wow, that's a lot to catch up.
A lot to catch up. I'm popping up this, oops. Okay, yes, sorry. The QR code again and the link in the webinar. So that actually wraps up for today. And so just last but not least, we would like to thank our super professional team of panelists from Thammasat University, from the Thailand CBTI, from Fine Folk, from the Hanuman Film, Kun Nick Ray, and from the Interior Group, from Kun Inti as well. Thank you very much for your active involvement in this. We promise that in the future this kind of workshop will be available in more countries in Southeast Asia as well. So, and to close to this, on behalf of UNESCO, I would like to also thank our project partners, the ASEAN Turkey Corporation, DASTA, Krihab K11 Department Store, Onyx Hospitality, the City Connects, B Consulting Cambodia, and the Thailand CBTI. So thank you very much and hope you have a good evening.
Thank you very
good
much.
Afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.
Sorry. Thank you.
Hey,